Hola mi amigos, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Gili, yo hablo español. Vamos, ¿dónde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go. ¿Dónde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go. Todo bien, when we hit the beach. It's a long way away for these cold streets. It's where the gangsters and the tourists meet. You can smell the salt water and feel the heat. It's Hermosa, city to the country. Feel the good vibe, doesn't matter where you comfy. Take in the culture like you're at home. See the palm trees when you step off the plane. No see where I might be. All I need is you right here with me. No pasa nada, we are free. All we need is sun, sand and sea. Donde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go. Donde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go. Asombrosa, one of a kind, but here you can get anything that you might find. Booze by the boatload, tequila and wine, and senoritas always up for a good time. No high problema, living this life. Take in the language, take in the sights. See all the long parties and the mad fights, but take it all in, cause you can't live it twice. No see where I might be. All I need is you right here with me. No pasa nada, we are free. All we need is sun, sand and sea. Donde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go. Donde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go. Donde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go. Donde está la fiesta? Feel the good vibes, have a belter. No tango, dinero, nah, but there's still need. Tell them where we might go.
Easy, easy. Where's my tunage? Hold on a second. There we go. Right, wee bit rusty in that, come on. Aye, aye. Error. Error. Where's this thing? Right, is that not done it? See this, see what happens here. Just give us a second, eh? Just give us a second, eh? This is live. The perils of liveness. Now we're talking. Yes! Right, these are tonals. What? Hold on now. Can't believe all that promotion. I'll just watch you later, eh? Got to pump what shit up? 30,687 rookie numbers. Is that my email? Alright, okay. Bojaws McGlinty. I've missed yous all. I never even had a chance to make a cup of tea. John Clifford. Working okay on the big telly. Right, just give us a minute. I'll get my windows organised now. Hiya, Bob. Good to see Jaylee's video. I could not start with that. Right, well, let's hope these Is Listalo too loud or too quiet? I can't. Well, I'm glad someone is. Two questions, if you don't mind. Are you worried about splitting the left vote in Edinburgh Central? And could that end up helping SNP Angus Robertson win? And thoughts on using AI art for YouTube thumbnails or political content? What? Come on, crazy hobo. I'm an artist. I'll use AI if I want to, like every other artist, right? I like AI. All these Luddites, man, just shut up. Get yourself in. Get yourself in. It's outrageous. People using AI. Nay bother. Nay bother. This is the theme tune. This is the election theme tune. This is the new discontent theme tune. It was written especially for discontent by Listalo. No, I'm not worried. Just finished your Yvonne Ridley chat. Quality stuff. That was very, very nice of Yvonne to drop in this afternoon. And it was very nice chatting to her. Very interesting lady. I mean, not many people can say they were held captive by the Taliban for like 10 days or something. With threat of death. Right, if you just geez a minute, I'm going to go away. Just look, just so I can make a cup of tea. You wouldn't have had that against me, would you? Wait, let's just get a wee look at who's here. Urban Hermit, Evening Bob. Strange, isn't it? An evening, what the X? But we'll maybe get into it. Good evening. Angus knows the game is over. I have to say, the recent visuals of Angus do seem rather trepid. Angus seems a little concerned, to say the least. But what do we know? We don't know. We don't know yet. Arpignon, evening to you. Right, just I'll be back in just a momento, and we'll carry on with the joviality. And I'll get my windies sorted out in that, eh? So didn't go anywhere. We're here for a while. We're here for a while still. Hold on, let's just get this here. We are here for a while still. So stay where you are.
Perhaps one of the most notable things, if you time traveled someone from the mid-70s to now, one of the things that you'd most notice about the political scene would be the disappearance of class as a basic conceptualization. What that has resulted in is clearly not the elimination of class relations themselves, but really then the disappearance. The formula for this is Wendy Brown's formula, class resentment without class consciousness, I think. We have forms of class hatred, class humiliation, class subordination, but without the agencies that used to be able to combat them, and without the form of class consciousness, which could expose those forms of humiliation, subordination, and counter them.
Two shots like a pistol. Shake boys all cause I'm official. Enjoy the spot while it's hot, cause I'm gonna claim it and no one will miss you. Ha! Now let's be serious, I know that you feel it when you hearing this. Cut through the fog, let's be clear on this. I am the best and the rest delirious. Come now, try to relax while you playing my tracks and I'm spitting the facts and you trying to grasp how I possibly rap so effortlessly in my form of attack. Metaphors of the rack like I'm dropping my cap and I'm cocking my gat. Get back, click clack. But it's only my pen and my pad, so it hurts more when you're proverbially stabbed.
Hello, my dutiful Northbridge critters. It is I, your dutiful Northbridge crier. I am back to address the rumours that you have seen about the so-called freedom, the so-called unleashing of the scaffolding and the freshly painted surface of Northbridge. It is a farce, let me tell you. Look! Behold the one-lane madness in full force. Is it not true that, yes, the bridge is unveiled, its beautiful new paintwork? Yes, here is it. Beautiful and fresh for the tourists to come in the fringe. But it is not free for the fine people who need to use this road every day in the Scotland's heart. Edinburgh City Council, when will you address the performative nature of the so-called freedom of Northbridge? When will you address the one-lane madness, the dear problem casting a dire spell over the fine capital of Scotland?
We're building cities now for people to invest in, not building cities for people to live in.
Okay, here we are. I'm with you. You now have my attention. You have got a political scalp there. He's even chapping doors with his 2 dogs to garner favour. I have to say, I think I think old Angus has had better election cycles, that has to be said. But what can we say, you know? You can't decide who's going to be on the ballot with you, right? No, you cannot. Leslie Keir. Go Bob. Yes, I'd never really heard of Yvonne Ridley before, and then she described how courteous her captors were, and I was like, makes sense. I think she got. I think she was came under a bit of heat for basically not saying they were as mental as people would have liked them to have been. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done a What the X, because as many of you will be aware, I've been quite busy running for election. So here's the deal. We've got Thursday is the vote. We've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So from tomorrow we've got 3 days to muster up some extra votes if possible. I must say that the response from my fellow citizens of Edina has been very encouraging. I've had a great deal of positive responses from people. Quite how that might manifest on the ballot itself, on the vote itself, I've no idea. But 3 days, 3 days to save Edina. Well, here's the thing, you know, you kind of go, I think I would enjoy, unlike, hard as it is to believe, I would enjoy going into the chamber at Holyrood and see, even if you don't like me, because there are those out there who find me what might be described as an acquired taste. But if you're telling me, right, that you would rather have the prosaic return of the existing Holyrood's existing party political class, without the addition of a mischievous antagonist, then what are you all about? I certainly hope you're not tuning into What the X, that's for sure. Talking of What the X, welcome to What the X, Scotland's most dynamic live stream. So says I. Do you even have a dog? You want me to drag a walrus around Stockbridge? We'll get on to Angus in a minute. But here's the drill. For everybody that can vote for me, or everybody that is voting for me, or has already voted for me, just you need to get somebody else to vote for me as well. Now, before I forget, there's quite a lot of people that I should be thanking. Too many, in fact, to thank. If you started thanking them all, I'd forget people, and then I'd feel bad. But there are a bunch of people. There are quite a lot of people this time round who have pitched in, and they've been delivering leaflets, electoral communications, as they're referred to. They've been delivering these leaflets, and they've been putting them around in shops and whatnot, places. And because these leaflets have a QR code on them that takes it to the Discontent website, we can track how effective these leaflet distributions have been. And I can say with a degree of confidence, I think they've been very effective so far. So thanks very much. It's not like the days of the Edinburgh Advertiser where they've all just been flung doing the psychopath at Loch End. people appear to have actually been delivering my leaflets, which is very kind of you all. And the leaflets were printed on time this time. Well, there's a whole story about that as well that I haven't shared, but they were printed eventually, yes. But there was still a bit of a leaflet chaos that had to be overcome. But we managed to do that. We managed to overcome that. Only with your good help, with your kind assistance, perhaps. So if anybody, I still have a power of leaflets left, and if anybody would like to assist with the distribution of these, and on Monday, I think Monday evening and Tuesday evening, I'll be doing a bit of actual canvassing. If anybody wants to come along and help, then DM me or drop us a mail, drop us a message somewhere, somehow. Get in touch, yeah? Get in touch. And I'll give you a bunch of them, and you can hopefully distribute them accordingly. But I have to say that this campaign has been an interesting campaign. We started off. One of the reasons I spoke to Yvonne Ridley today was because Yvonne had been very kind to ask me to speak at the Workers' Party opening, which was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. And I gave a wee talk there, a wee speech there, which is a wee bit of an unusual thing for me to do, but you know. Seemed appropriate given I was considering at that point and running. Well, I was going to run, you know. And that was well received. People enjoyed that. People liked what I was talking about. I was talking about the hollowing out of politics and the corporatisation of our political class and our dominant mainstream political parties. And it's interesting because after I gave that was pre-election, and after I gave that talk, I went along shortly after, maybe like within a week or something, I went along to the Scotsman hustings that was in the assembly rooms. And you couldn't have conceived a more corporate type of political performance, the optics, everything. It was exactly what I'd said in that speech. It was the quintessence of superficial corporate politics. It might as well have been some kind of like, you know, Pride of Scotland awards ceremony or something, or some nonsense kind of thing, you know, just like an after dinner corporate thing. It was called a hustings, but it bore no relation to what an actual hustings should be. So I was interested to go there, and I thought this is a good example of this, you know, just this completely corporate affair. The political classes themselves were embarrassing and pathetic. Patrick Harvey and the SNP lady and all the rest of it, all of them. And their whole thing was to gang up on the Malcolm Offord guy, who's a bit of a buffoon, you know, a bumbling guy and stuff, but it was like a school playground. Murdo Fraser. And the interesting thing is that inevitably, when they decide that they're all against one person, it just exposes how together they all are themselves. So it was interesting to go and look at that, but it was also mind-numbingly boring as well, I have to say. It was pathetic. And they were right up their arses, the Scotsman people that were running it. They really thought they were putting on something special, you know. It was just an indictment on the entire affair. Big failure to the liberal left media throughout this entire period. The pathetic supplicants of the Scottish state who like to pretend that they're oppositional. They're basically like the human centipede of the SNP. Mike Small and Bella Caledonia and what's his name, Jerry Hassan and that, you know. They're just at the fucking back passage waiting for dribbles coming out the fucking sphincter, you know. Absolute embarrassment. Complete embarrassment. Pathetic. They should just disappear, you know. They've been making this point. I spoke to Yvonne about this today as well. You know, they've all been engaged in this. The media have all been engaged in this performative thing about the election's terrible, and then you've got the liberal left idiots kind of moaning about the right wing and unionist media. You're all the same. You're all pathetic. Every one of you is. And the election itself has actually been away from this dominant, tedious, you know, bromidic mainstream narrative. It's actually been quite interesting for the small parties and the independent candidates who are forging their own course, where they're actually speaking to people and communicating and engaging with people. I've had a really good campaign. I've really enjoyed it. I've met some great people. I've had some really good conversations. I know it sounds like a cliche. We've had some great conversations on the doorsteps. But no, it's been cool, you know. And this is what we want. We need a participatory electoral process that gets ourselves away, that extricates ourselves from these party political monoliths. And shame on everybody who still participates in this, you know. This idea that you're going to install one bunch of managers because you're concerned about the behaviour of the other bunch of managers. It's like, no, that's not good enough, you know. Chris Cullen made that point when we were talking yesterday on the march, you know. Evening all, says Macapella. Evening to you, Macapella. Always a pleasure to see you join us. A fantastic producer and songwriter there. Aye, right. SNP want reform to do well, in my opinion, because it activates their own base and it mobilises ex-Labour, ex-Conservatives to vote reform. Well, I don't know. I think the fact that reform are going to be there, we've been saying this quite a lot. It's really just an indictment on the incumbent political class. It's nothing. They don't represent anybody, so they can't do anything about that. So they're already resigned to the fact that, like, a section of the of Holyrood is going to be taken up by reform. And then we've got the Greens, We've got the Scottish Greens to look forward to. Maybe Ross Greer will turn up to Holyrood in his wetsuit. That'd be exciting, wouldn't it? Beldam Lascar. Bojaws, wait a minute, wait now. The more behaviour I see like that, the more validated a careerist troll Offord seems. He's the result of their ineptitude and villainy. Ineptitude and villainy! You, sir, are the result of ineptitude and villainy! I've convinced a few folk to give you a vote, Mrs. Lascar included. I'm flattered. But getting people out the mindset that the first vote is anything other than participation in a charade is a harder sell. I get that, you know, but let's see how many John Thomases or ladies' flowers find their way onto the ballot. Let's see if our message is bad. I mean, let's face it, you know, people have gone out of their way to suppress the message. Silence him. But respect to everybody who has participated and shared the vibes and raised consciousness on these matters. Okay, how are we doing? It's 7 o'clock in the evening. I've got a whole bunch of error messages on these screens in front of me, but as far as I'm aware, we do seem to be broadcasting, so despite the errors, we're still here. A gallery of what? Okay. Audio video is loud and clear. Are you about 5-10 minutes behind us? Or abreast? Patrick Brady, or abreast to you. What do we think about the Cabbage losing today? I never saw the game because I was busy and I was talking to Yvonne amongst other things, but Or Jambo's going to be saying that we flog it, we threw it. It's getting close to squeaky bum time, as they say. It's getting closer. The threat of Jambogeddon is drawing ever nearer. That Tony Bloom post that I made a few weeks ago, that's going to haunt me, innit? Blooming marvellous. Right, I'll be back in just a minute again. Didn't go anywhere.
To follow up with that, where you mentioned the West Coast accent, I think, you know, what I took from Councillor Knowles McVeigh's question is that Edinburgh maybe doesn't have a regional accent per se because it's such an international city. So it's going to be learning from a lot of different things. How does it learn from all the different languages?
So that is the type of technology, convener. It is machine learning.
That is why I advocate a campaign of participatory disruption. The existing political class and media class require the electorate to be either compliant or absent. The system has spent decades training people to believe that their only choices are either cynical withdrawal or compliant selection. The first leaves the field undisturbed. The second legitimises its boundaries. The more dangerous possibility is different: to show up, to be counted, but to reject the menu on offer. This is participatory disruption. To refuse the blackmail of choosing between managerial brands and to reject a neoliberal order that has reduced public life to administration, class conflict to a culture war, and democracy to a ritual of managed consent. It is my belief that registering to vote, entering the voting booth and either endorsing an independent outlier, anti-neoliberal party or defacing your ballot with a special message or artistic expression of your choice carries far more significance than simply conforming to the system's modelling data. In my opinion, to protest effectively is not to not vote at all, but to vote in your own expressive terms. That is the deeper political significance of participatory disruption.
Love and me say is the answer. Go tell them love. Love and me say is the answer. I just love. Tell them I love is the answer. Love for your mother, love for your father. Love for your sister, me say love for your brother. Love for the black, and me say love for the white. Everything, you know it's gonna be alright. Say we no need me, but I me say we. And me say love. Love and me say is the answer. I just love. Love and me say is the answer. Love and me say is the answer. Love for your mother, love for your father. Love for your sister, me say love for your brother.
You shouldn't participate in the democratic perversion of neoliberal democracy, you know. You should reject it. You should reject it completely. And if you don't have an independent or someone like that on your ballot, then just draw a big cock and balls or anything. Just spoil your ballot. Anybody that's participating in this needs their head checked. That's a fact, like. And the fundamental thing, the obvious thing that makes us clear is the genocide. We've watched human beings being annihilated, obliterated, innocent people being murdered. And if you endorse the Labour Party, if you vote for the Labour Party, you're essentially saying that you're comfortable with that. You're saying that that's all right.
How is that going to impact the Scottish Government? Right, I'm not in the Scottish Government, pal. Good evening. 5 years ago, Angus Robertson won this seat, and in his victory speech, he made the following statement: Edinburgh Central also has its challenges, which I will do my best to address, particularly in housing, where growing wealth inequalities and the disproportionate impact of short-term lets has literally hollowed out communities and is pricing out local people. The scourge of homelessness is still too prevalent, as is the toll of drug-related deaths. Let us take a moment to assess Mr Robertson's efforts to ameliorate these issues during his 5 years in power. Temporary homelessness in Edinburgh is up 219%. Families with 4 children in temporary accommodation is up 350%. The council has now suspended advertising social homes until March 2027 because there are none on offer. 55,804 people are currently on the waiting list. During Mr Robertson's tenure, the housing regulator found Edinburgh Council in systemic failure on homelessness. In Dalry, 50 Edinburgh artists were evicted from a publicly owned building that was then sold for £1 to a private developer and has now been turned into student flats. Imagine that. Scotland's Culture Secretary allowing 50 independent artists in his own constituency to lose their workspaces only to be replaced by student flats. The old Bank of Scotland building in Dundas Street is now going to be 593 student flats, and in an act of cultural vandalism, Basil Spencer's globally renowned architectural marvel on Dalkeith Road, the old Scottish Widows building, is to be demolished and replaced by student flats from a company that charges 22 grand a year per bed. The University of Edinburgh, the city's largest landowner, sits on the very board that sets the city's strategic direction. The biggest beneficiary of Edinburgh's housing crisis helps to create it. Despite claiming to be concerned about housing and the hollowing out of communities, Mr Robertson has not once questioned any of this. If elected, I will demand the university's removal from that board. On drug deaths, 405 drug deaths in Edinburgh since he won the seat, over 150 in this constituency alone. He was caught using a festival funded by his own Quango, Creative Scotland, to promote his own book. The same Quango spent 110 grand on a pornographic film and then lied about it in Parliament. And in August 2024, 10 months into Israel's genocide in Gaza, he met the Deputy Ambassador of the Zionist state and described Scotland and Israel as critical friends. That's 5 years of Angus Robertson. I'm not a party politician. I don't want to be a party politician, and that's precisely why you should vote for me in this forthcoming election. Thank you.
Well. That was an interesting start to last month. Your boy Bobby looks good in a suit. Aye. And Mr Robertson hasn't been seen since within any proximity with Bonnie Prince Bob. Fiat. Well, of course Edinburgh has an accent. This is what we're up against. Elected councillors to Edinburgh City Council who don't believe that Edinburgh has a local dialect. This is the state of affairs of the capital city of Scotland as it enters its final stage of erasure. My mate Callum was in Stockbridge Market a couple of weeks ago and he was buying something on a Sunday and the guy goes, "Oh, that's an interesting accent. Where's it from?" He's like, "I grew up round the corner, pal." This is what we have to deal with. Gary Shane McLean, I've been out canvassing and the word on the street is independence is the way forward. We need to take it, not ask for it. The indie parties should get a rally organised and fuel the fire. Well, I have to say, I do agree with that. I do concur with that notion of when you have a genuine movement of people, which is something that the existing political class don't have, despite their propaganda of Angus walking about with his 2 dogs round Stockbridge. That's a problem for the system, right? Is when people actually get together and like, "Hey, what? No, we're not having this. We're having this instead, right? What are you going to do about it? Get to." And that's the type of politics that we want. That is the type of politics that we want. Unfortunately, the people who are currently conjuring and setting a bit of fuel around that type of politics are racists, which isn't cool, you know. That's not great. Are you going to take Craig Murray up on his offer of a weak lemon drink? Is Murray feeling better? He was unfortunately for Craig, he was incapacitated, wasn't he? His election campaign was being conducted from Caracas because he had a heart issue, which I'm glad to hear that I think he's had it sorted out. But was that what he was saying? But listen, let me tell you about Craig Murray, right? I've said to Craig, I've been doing What the X for over 2 years, and I've got about 3 or 4 DMs of Craig going like, you want to come on the show? And he's like, absolutely, yes, definitely. And then he just never gets back to me. I'm like, all right, never didn't come then, eh? But I will be trying to do at least another 2 or possibly 3 What the X's, maybe one on election day itself. But I think we may be looking at doing a morning X, back to a wee couple of morning X's for Tuesday and Wednesday. And hopefully I can lure Colin Fox in for a chat. I caught up with Colin yesterday briefly, and he's obviously very busy, but we'll try and get Colin in for a chat. I've been enjoying what the Scottish Socialist Party have been saying. I've been enjoying, I mean, this is the thing, you know, out with this mainstream fetishisation with these tedious party political morons and their moronic media class, you know, fluffers. There is actually, you know, an appetite. People have got an appetite, like this chap says, or this person says, about independence. You know, people are interested in how do we secure independence, and we want to detach ourselves from the party political monopoly. Now, anybody who's followed me for a long time, probably the best part of a decade now, I would say, it's pretty much been the message that I've stuck to this message for a reason, right? I'll let others decide whether or not they think I'm right or not, but I'm feeling a warming towards the concept, really, you know. Especially when you look at, for example, the it'll come to me. Great. Right, watch this, right. Will this come through my phone, right? Mark.
Hey, Bob.
What are you doing?
How's it going?
Mark, I'm busy right now.
Alright, cool, man. No worries.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I mean, I'm just going into Pollock Halls.
Pollock Halls? What are you doing there? You're not a student.
I know. I'm just going to catch them all coming out of the canteen. Yeah.
You got the student vote in the bag, have you?
I think so. Yeah.
You think so?
I'm getting the word out that basically the Green Party is not democratic because I know for a fact that the Green Party branch in Glasgow voted 12 months ago that they would field 9 constituency candidates, 1 for each constituency, and it was their decision and only theirs to make. And that decision's been overturned, and I don't believe that it's been overturned through a democratic persuasion.
You mean some internal party political madness has allowed us to veto democracy, to veto the integrity of democracy? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Mark?
Yeah.
That's outrageous. Would you ever do something like that in Edinburgh People's Party?
Would we ever do something like that? Well, not once. Well, the Constitution. I've done this crazy thing with the Constitution. Is that for the first?
Do you know that you're live right now? You're live on my live stream, Mark, because you phoned when I'm doing a live stream.
Well, basically,
do you want to send a message to the viewers currently watching and listening?
Yes. Okay.
What's your message?
Join the revolution. Everyone wants this revolution to happen. We should all get behind this. And the revolution is to remove the mechanism that allows billionaires and paedophiles to influence politicians.
We need to remove
Nobody
the
wants
mechanism that allows billionaires and paedophiles. That's the same thing, is it not?
Well, some of them, yeah, some of them are, and some of them aren't. I mean, it's like not all of them are, and vice versa. You know, I think there's a lot of paedophiles that aren't millionaires. Put it that way.
Okay.
But in terms of how are we going to do it? So the mechanism, it's like the bicycle chain, right? It's the bicycle chain of the whole system, and it's the party whip, and the party whip is how all the parties force their MPs and their MSPs to vote opposite to how they would otherwise vote, were they free to use their intellect, their judgment and their conscience when voting on your behalf.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, Mark. Intellect, conscience and judgment, these aren't things that I readily associate with the party political class, like.
No, they do have it. They do. Some of them do have some of it. Some of the time, the key thing is, and Bob, this is where I have garnered a lot of credibility. Okay, when I explain why, because with anything, right? Everybody in life needs to be asking themselves why far more often than they do at the moment. Yeah. So if someone tells you something, you just say why. You know. I know it sounds a bit like you're being a bit like a toddler, right? But there is a very, very good reason why toddlers go around saying why all the time, because they understand. Precisely, they understand that that's how you fucking learn.
Right. What are you saying? Get to the point.
So why is the party whip the single linchpin flaw in the current system of politics? And the reason, the simplest way that I've explained it, is to imagine that we're all working together in a factory, and we're all
don't say that word. That we're all what?
Working in a factory together as lackeys.
Lackeys?
Lackeys, right?
What kind of a term is that to use about the working people?
Well, lackey, whatever. It's like, I've been a lackey. I've worked in a fish factory in Alaska myself, right? So we've all been a lackey at some point or other in our lives, most of us, right? There's nothing. It's like what you do is, number one is you do as you're told, and number two is you don't ask any questions. Yeah, you just get on with it, and it's just human nature. It's like. Because why would you use your intellect? Why would you question what you're doing? Because it's not like a blind bit of difference. But is this what we want from our MPs, our MSPs, for them to disengage their intellect? Because they're just following orders when it comes to voting on legislation that's going to affect the lives of millions of people.
Mark, but they're selected on account of not having an intellect. You do realise that, right?
Well, yes, I know. But anyhow, right, so vote Edinburgh people, right, on the list, vote Bonnie Prince Bob on the that's my recommendation, right, on the constituency for Edinburgh Central, Edinburgh Southern, and I've got Bob on a sort of really chatty side of things. I'm thinking that there's a possibility that I'll get my deposit back from my constituency vote.
Well, I tell you what, mate, I hope that you get your deposit back. I'd like to get my deposit back as well, but, you know, who knows? Anything's possible. Mark, listen, you are actually live. I wasn't joking. So, you've been broadcast to the nation. Quite how many of the nation are actually tuned in, I don't know the answer to that. But nevertheless, you've got your message out there, right? Which is something that you've been trying to do relentlessly. So respect to yourself.
Well, no, I launched a TikTok channel. I've had 16,000 views on those sorts of TikToks.
That's fantastic. Well done.
Within 4 days.
I'll need to follow you on TikTok. Right, Mark, take care. I'll catch up with you soon, yeah?
Right, see you.
Take care. It wasn't planned, I'm telling you. Right, Mark Wilkinson there, the pizza entrepreneur, the political pizza man. On the ground, respondent, Mark from the campaign trail, amazing production value. There you go, indeed. There you go. Right, didn't go anywhere. I'll be back in just a moment.
I think the way that you can make a delineation is the majority of the party political class. If you want them in power, you're going to be buried in a pine box. If you vote for the Greens, you're going to be buried in a pine box with a small bit of satin padding. It is a fucking bonnet, a pretty bonnet, tied around a disgusting class system that has us absolutely fucked over at every turn.
I've got a particular issue. It becomes a big. It makes you out to be a bit contentious. I certainly take a lot of heat. I don't know whether you invoke the same reactions yourself, but there's a sense amongst liberals, when you criticise the Greens, that it's almost sacrilegious, that you're doing something that's, how could you do this? These are well-meaning, good people, but it's that veneer of virtue that allows them to obfuscate class issues more than ever. And I think that's the part of it that's really quite vulgar. We've still got an ongoing genocide in Gaza. We've got continued conflict that is all related to the neoliberal system. And the Greens don't really have any answer to that because they don't have a strong class support behind them. And we know structurally that the only thing that can actually challenge the iniquity of this system is a strong working class. 100%. And without that, we can't expect to do that. As Mark Fisher famously said, really what that amounts to is a liberal pressure group.
Literally.
And a liberal pressure group is entirely ineffectual, especially when you've got psychotic neocons and neoliberals potentially conscripting young men and sending them off to their deaths, This is it. So this is the seriousness of the situation that maybe some of the liberal middle classes haven't quite grasped. That if they're genuinely opposed to capital and they're genuinely opposed to the iniquity of the system and the military-industrial complex, that involves actually engaging a section of society that they're very uncomfortable engaging with.
Well, of course they are, because they're nothing to do with that subsection of society. They actually act as an opposition to it, as it's moralising and classism that is at the foundations of their policies. And we have to remember that the liberal left will always say vote for the lesser evil. But you know what that is at its core? Vote evil.
Yeah.
That's not fucking good enough.
No.
So that's why we are standing in these things, to offer a genuine alternative, not so you can vote for the lesser evil. Get fucked with your lesser evil. I could not be bothered with this stuff, man. We have to be moving forward with something that's a genuine change.
Yeah, very happy to do that. I'm an electromechanical engineer. Before I was elected in 2021, I worked in the offshore renewable industry. It would be wonderful to have nationalised offshore industries. That's not within reserve power, so I can't promise you that, and the longest battle can promise you that. It's not something the Scottish Government could do, or the Scottish Parliament can do.
Well, I think having autonomy over our energy resources is probably one of the most fundamental arguments for independence, which is what I'm for. It's by no means an area of expertise that I have, but I am interested in Lorna stating that she's got a background in this, because as far as I'm aware, when the Greens were in government with the SNP, they sold all our renewables well under market value, and that came under a huge amount of criticism across the globe. So, yeah, so I think a big question mark over the Greens on that particular one. Cheers. I have returned again. I thought that was. I really enjoyed my chat with Chris Cullen yesterday at May Day, the May Day March from the Communist Party. You can watch that online. It's on YouTube. I clipped a wee bit of it on the Instagram reel. I clipped the end by mistake, but the full thing's on YouTube. But I thought it was a really good chat. I think Chris has got some solid politics there. He's very passionate. He knows the structural oppressions, and he's keen to put himself out there and challenge them. And I think that I think this is a time where we have to really be thinking. It's even strange that Chris makes that point. Everything that we've got, everything that's happened, and everything that's wrong is because of the removal of class politics. This is what's happened. Our culture is poorer, our society is poorer, everything is poorer when you remove the working class from the equation. And this, as he said, a pine box with a satin lining or a bow on it, is essentially what the Green Party are offering. There's a lot of truth in that, and it's becoming ever more evident. It's just the harsh reality of things. I think when you're looking at the levels of destruction and horror that we've been subject to over this last 2 or 3 years now, it's very clear, you know, the demonic hands that are at the controls. And so if we really want to make an effort to do something about that, we have to think about how we do that, you know, effectively. And electing a choir of well-meaning choir people is not the answer, unfortunately, in my opinion. But what do I know, eh? What do you think? What do you think, eh? Is Ross Greer the saviour of all things? Is Ross Greer here to save the working class of Scotland? Incredible beard. He does have an incredible beard, doesn't he? The whip is because we vote for parties. The whip isn't the problem, it's the politics of the parties and politicians. Okay, there's another argument to that. I don't know if you want to say that to Mark Wilkinson. He might have a meltdown. Mark might implode if you tell him that. Best transmission to date, thank you very much. Shall we have a look? Shall we have a look on the exosphere? It's been a while, isn't it? Has everybody retweeted and reposted the stream? Has everybody done their bit to share? To share what we do here? Iron Fist Rose Gear. So you have one voter. Oh, this was Agnes. We'll get to Agnes in a bit. Agnes is not my granny. Agnes's video was sent to me. Right, let's have a look. Here is Ross Greer. A lovely afternoon with Mark Russell and Stirling Greens. I've resigned. Dr. Tim Kelly. Is this generative AI? Is Gregor with us? Gregor DMs me every 5 minutes to tell me to stop using generative AI. Gregor's like my ma. Gregor's like the ma that I never had. He likes to tell me what I can and can't do. I mentioned it to Yvonne Ridley in the discussion that I had with her this afternoon. In fact, we actually played Laura Jones's address to the Workers' Party conference. I'm not going to play it here. Do I have it here? Maybe I do have it here. I think I might have it here. Laura Jones, for me, has been the standout candidate in this election that I've been aware of. She's a Workers' Party candidate in Glasgow. She is the organiser for the Scottish Tenants organisation. She was instrumental in the Winford estate when they were dealing with the Wheatley Group's intrusion onto the Winford and how they dealt with that. She's very concerned about women's safety in hostels and homelessness. And she gave a speech at the Workers' Party opening address, the same one that I gave a talk at. And it went viral on TikTok. It has about, I think between TikTok and X, it's got over 100,000 views and a lot of engagement. And I think this is really significant because it's a massive issue for people. Housing is a massive, massive issue for people, young people especially. Excuse me. And a lot of the responses to Laura Jones's speech on TikTok and whatnot were people sharing their own stories of despair at the treatment by this Wheatley group, which is essentially BlackRock. And they're kind of got the backing of the SNP and the Greens as well. And Laura Jones's speech was excellent and well received and viral, and she didn't receive so much as a column inch anywhere. And that's now been like 5 or 6 weeks since she gave this speech. And again, this is a total failure, especially on these liberal left, these pathetic so-called alternative media platforms where they want to write their screeds all day long. I've noticed some of them are trying to make video content now. Aye, that's a laugh. You've only had like 10 years and hundreds of thousands of pounds. In fact, I found out recently that Mike Small and his sanctimonious Mike Small got £1 million of public money so that people could eat turnips for a year, and then that all fell to pieces, like, you know. So I'll take no lectures from this guy about politics or whatnot, you know. Absolutely, we've had it with these people, you know. All they do is moan about the media that they would desperately love to be part of, and then the skeletons are all coming out, like, you know. I tell you, it was unfortunately it was that Brian Spanner that alerted me to it, but it just shows you, you know, I never knew about this. These little liberal left, little belligerent little gatekeepers, like, you know what I mean? They've not got an ounce of politics between them. And then you've got people like Laura Jones, you know, who's made this incredible speech, and they won't touch it. I tell you why they won't touch it, because of this guy, right? They'll not touch it because of him. Big Gigi, right? George Galloway, because George Galloway runs that party. So because George Galloway, actually Yvonne Ridley is the head of the Workers' Party Scotland, but because George Galloway is associated with this party, they will not give Laura Jones an atom of airtime or respect for what she's done, which just exposes these people for what they are. They're just neoliberal bag carriers. They're just parasites of the right. That's all the contemporary left are. I've said it for years. The neoliberal left is a parasite of the right. That's what it is. Laura Jones' speech was excellent. Thanks for sharing it. It wasn't just excellent, it was vital. It was a vital and informative speech about the state of our housing and the housing associations, you know, and this Wheatley group, you know. So the whole of Scottish media has got a big question mark over it, and that's why what do you need to do? Obviously, you need to support Discontent, and you're welcome to support Discontent. I won't bleat on about it. I'm not going to make a big song and dance about it. I've grafted for over 5 weeks here. If I was to be paid for per hour for the amount of hours that I've put in, then you know what I mean. It would be crazy. You know what I mean. So if anybody wants to support us, if they want to contribute to Discontent, help us build, please do so. It's much appreciated, and it all goes into making what we do better. But yeah, big black mark on the whole of Scottish media for failing to cover Laura Jones's speech properly. And I suspect it is purely because of the association with George Galloway. Glasgow May Day rally. Who was the young poet? I didn't catch her name. Did anybody go to the May Day rally yesterday? I've actually got the footage. I didn't have time to edit it. But there was a young lady poet and she was fantastic. I don't know if somebody could find out who that young lady was. But she was great. And Callum Baird was great singer, great songwriter. Ewan Gibbs did a good speech about the strike. It was very good. I enjoyed being up at the Workers' Party March yesterday, and I really enjoyed talking to Chris. As you can see, obviously, you can watch that video later if you've not already seen it.
Hello. Hello. Can I ask what's your name? Agnes.
Agnes. How long have you stayed in the south side?
Since
In the
70s.
Oh, right.
1970s.
And can I ask about your political, like, the election coming up? Have you got an idea who you're going to vote for?
Oh, I really didn't really care, because all the ones that I've always voted, I've never done nothing. And I've always I was hoping I would get independence. I'm Scots and I want independence for this country. But I'm not going to get it of the ones that's already there. So I'm sitting and I'm looking and I'm thinking about what everybody else is saying. And I've got one here that I think talks a load of sense. And if he go in, I think he would do something good for Scotland. I'm not talking about the world or anything, about Scotland, my country. And his name's Bonnie Prince Bob. And I think myself, he gets in, I think we'll have something great to look forward to. We've nothing at the moment.
Can I ask how old you are, Agnes?
89.
You're looking fantastic for 89. So do you think Bob will be good for Edinburgh?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
And do you think he's good for the upper class, the lower class, the working class? What do you think?
I think myself, he'll be for the working class, but I think he'll also work with the upper class. The rich didn't want anything to do with us. There's one or two, I'm not saying them all, but there's one or two who would work to help the lower. I said, but no, I think myself, if you work with your own first and see where you can go for there. Okay?
So are you done your postal vote then, Agnes?
Well, no yet.
Do you do a postal vote?
Well, I don't know whether to do it or just go, because I don't know, maybe I'm too old in the head, but I like to go and put my X.
So you're actually going to the polling station?
I want to go, as much as I'm finding it hard, I want to go and stand in and do it myself.
So who is it you're voting for?
And it'll be Bonnie Prince Bob.
Okay, and what's that you've got in your hand there, Agnes?
It's a wee thing, mate. Edinburgh has been failed by party politics.
Magic.
And I think myself, we need somebody in who's really for the people. Not for the upper class, but for the people.
Magic. Thank you so much, Agnes. Thank you. Let me see the wee poster that you're holding there. Just hold it up. And what's on the other side?
On the other side, it's the capitalist, James Connolly. One, maybe he could have done that many years ago.
I'm currently walking along Queen's Drive, which takes us through Holyrood Park. This is a road that at the weekends is closed from 8:15 in the morning till about 6:30 in the evening. But it's open the rest of the time and the rest of the week, and a lot of Edinburgh residents use this road to get from one side of the town to the other, and we always have done for decades. You know, if you're getting from the east side over to Prestonfield or perhaps up to Gilmerton or Gracemount, using the park is just a standard route of travel for us. Lorna Slater, who is the Green Party Edinburgh Central constituent candidate, is proposing that if she gets elected to advance a bill to Parliament that would shut this road off permanently to all traffic. And I think that would be a travesty for Edinburgh and an insult to Edinburgh residents. So if you're considering voting Green and you are an Edinburgh resident, maybe be aware of the fact that this is what Lorna Slater's intending to do. I don't think the park should be shut off to traffic. I think we should be allowed to keep it as a through road because it connects families and friends, and it's just been a long-term route of travel, and there really isn't any logical reason, in my opinion, why this route should be shut off. So when it comes to 7th of May, vote for me, Bonnie Prince Bob, or another independent, socialist or communist if you can. And if you can't vote for any of us, then maybe you should just deface your ballot. Thanks very much.
Right, the folk drama there with A Lesson in Letting Go. I went through on Thursday night to their EP launch at the Hug and Pint in Glasgow, and it was brilliant. I just think that they're the most incredible duo, you know. There's a bunch of other players who play with them as well. Daniel McGeever, an old mate of mine, bunch of other cats, but they really are phenomenal. I'm expecting to see them just go mega, you know. A real boon to have a Scottish act like that, to be honest. And it was brilliant. I really enjoyed seeing them live. It was a real pleasure. This person here, there was somebody popped up to remonstrate with me about the Park Road route not being a genuine route. I mean, it's just nonsense. This person says that he's talking about folk that stay east central, Loch End or Leith, for example. It's a standard route and one of the city's few pleasant ones. I didn't know of Slater's plans, but I left the Green Party years back because I cannot stand her. Vote Bonnie Prince Bob. Listen, right? The whole thing with the Park Road really boils my piss. And I think it should boil a lot of people's piss. And it also exposes the sort of arrogant self-righteousness of both the Greens and settler colonialists, right? People who come to the park on a Saturday and a Sunday and they go, oh, let's go for a lovely bicycle ride around Holyrood Park. Isn't it lovely that there's no traffic here? I don't think there should be any traffic here the rest of the week. Then we could just come here whenever we want when there's no traffic here, and that would be fabulous. It's like, oh, that would be great, Barry, right? But people live here and people have got family across town, or people have got friends across town. We've been using the park as a route of travel forever. Why is Lorna Slater, somebody says, why is a woman from 5,000 miles away deciding like what roads should and shouldn't be open? And it's the same thing. This is this whole part about Edinburgh representation. Tommy Shepherd tried to get wide with me on that BBC programme. He was essentially trying to infer, and I've seen this narrative getting pumped around, that Jim Sutherland come with it as well after the outrage of Tuchter Dingle and his nonsense, try to say that I was othering people. It's like, I'm no othering anybody, right? I'm representing Edinburgh perspectives, right? Edinburgh views, right? I've family in this city for generations, as do many people, and we're not bored. Anybody can come to Edinburgh, come and enjoy the city. It's a beautiful city, but why you want to start rearranging the furniture? What are you all about? That's the problem that I've got with it. Why you want to, you know, if you ask any Edinburgh resident or Leith resident if they're happy about the road closures, if they're happy about that bus gate getting put down at the links, that nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. There was not any proper consultation, and this is how it happens. Just it's the boiling the frog thing, one after another, the anti-car mob and all the rest of it, and then they elect themselves. You get the new community members come in and they love to use the word community, and they call themselves something, friends of the park, friends of this, friends of Calton Hill, and nobody's actually from here. It's like, well, we're all friends of Calton Hill. Why? Because we've always been here, right? We love Calton Hill, we love the city, we love the park, right? But we also like to drive through it, right? And I don't understand why there's this thirsty enthusiasm to just shut off all the roads and stop these routes of travel. And the only thing that I can think of is people think that that's okay because they don't really think. Why would I need to go across town like that? Why would I need to go to Mayfield or Prestonfield or up to Craigmillar or Niddry or whatever, or up to, you know, this guy was saying you wouldn't go up to Gilmerton that way. Why would you not go up to Gilmerton that way? Of course you would go up to Gilmerton that way, right? So I just didn't get it. I don't understand why there's this real hostility towards the roads, you know. Where's my soup? Addy Ken, what's happened to my...
I'm currently walking along Queen's...
I ken that, right. Where's my soup? Great track. The folk drama are amazing. Their other track, Referee, is a belter as well. Honestly, man, they're going to be massive. Like, they're going to be absolutely. They deserve to be massive. They're absolutely phenomenal. Aaron's a genius. Yeah, lovely guy. Just met him recently, but what a brilliant songwriter, a brilliant guy, definitely. It's been closed to keep Duddingston quiet. Jim Sutherland is a brilliant... I like Jim Sutherland, he's a brilliant music producer, but he did infer that I was othering people, and I didn't know why he thinks it's alright to speak to me like that. I'm not othering anybody, I'm making a point, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what are you all about? Why are you so determined to rearrange the furniture? Spot on, says Madame Guy. Ran over, there we go, right? But this is why we shouldn't. Why, like, you know what? Why is Lorna Slater? What is Lorna Slater? Lorna Slater's mental, right? Lorna Slater is on a different planet from us, you know. Planet incompetence. So what's the story? I mean, tell you what, right? If Slater gets in and Robertson doesn't, right? I'll claim that. I'll claim that. But you know, let's muster the vote as much as we can. Let's see how many people are going to actually turn up and vote to make a statement, right? What do you think? I'd enjoy being in that parliament. This guy, Sean McDonald, is like a podcaster guy, and then he was started getting into all the politics recently. You noticed that? He's sort of flag waving for the neoliberals. You're like, I ain't bother, pal. Quality. Oh, there he goes. I'm fascinated by the evolution of how Glaswegians speak, right? He's want to talk about how they speak. Why not talk about the fact that what they're talking about? They're talking about the oppression of the working classes because they were class conscious as fuck, and that's what's been. Is that you're not fascinated about that? No, you're fascinated about how their dialect, right? They were. I'm not fascinated about how Glaswegians speak. I'm sick of it. Bring on the backlash about what wheezes. Look what Gavin Bruce has said. He's just said the same thing. Sadly, a lot of this class consciousness has been lost in recent years. Identity politics has played a significant role in that. All this nonsense about class reductionism, worst term ever. Anybody that ever uses that needs a... But so too have religious institutions, which I think probably benefited to some degree from the former. There's no one for the working class to identify with. When Mick Lynch came on the scene with nothing radical, I might add, at least him and Dempsey resonated with people. Many great working class speakers I know, if only they had space, it would break through with the masses. I agree, but so long as we have these left parties filled with middle class posers who have never known working class struggle, we are on to plums. Fucking Zach Polanski is the answer to our woes. That's the state of it. 100%, mate. I hate criticising the left, but most of it is counterproductive. A lot of good people in this group, however, the SWP frustrate the life out of me with the identity stuff. It's got to that point, you know, it's like at the end of the day, right, when the neocons, I've said it to Chris, you know, when they start conscripting, when they're already planning for heavyweight war. As soon as Starmer comes in, he's like, "What? We're spending all this money on defence and all the rest of it." It's like, what's that about, right? We're not just saying it for a laugh. But no, what you want is this is why, like, you see, what's his name again? Pat Kane and that, when the Greens conjure up some propaganda, when they get their Saatchi and Saatchi vibes out and they have some like heartstrings for liberals and that, they all just they ejaculate, you know, they're like, oh, this is fantastic, wonderful, this is what we're talking about. They just love a nice wee curated story in that. Aye, Barry. You know what I mean? It's like mental, and they actually come out publicly and like enthusiastically going on about how brilliant it is, and you're going, I ain't bother, eh? It's proper mental. They literally are clueless. There's no greater ignorance than the ignorance of the educated. The disrespect. You made it all nice so people wanted to move there. And they think they can change it all around. Yeah, totally. Oh man, Edinburgh, I don't know what's happened to Edinburgh. It's a shame, you know. The thing is, because we've got no media, I mean, I've made this point over and over again. I'm not going to make it again tonight. I've made it so many times. I'm like a broken record about it, but it's totally true, and it's just like, you know, it's that thing where because there hasn't been any effective representation. Once things become really bad, and then people start reacting, like, because you do see people in comment threads and stuff. You know, you'll have like some well-meaning, like, you know, oh, isn't Edinburgh lovely? And then you'll see like, fucking gentrifier and all this kind of stuff, like folk getting pelters. And that's not really fair, you know, it's not really fair on the person that's just like, you know, I've just bought a house and I'm like just enjoying the vibe and that. It's like they didn't really know, but without that local representation existing, it's sad, you know. That's why I'm saying to people, look, go and get people to out, you know. put a Bobby on the ballot, you know? However that Bobby might be. The party political class are at it. They are at it. Let's get a look at. I need to put that look back thing on. 2 seconds. This should work. Hopefully that works. Spoil your ballots. That's the spirit, Kit Kats. That's the spirit. Thanks for joining What the X this evening for this special election selection. Thanks to everybody who's been supporting me throughout this month. It's meant a lot, it really has. And you know, whatever the actual vote is, I have to say, I feel I've already done well. You know, I've already made some of the points I wanted to make. And I've just had a brilliant response, you know, when I've gone about in that, people have stopped me, people talking to me, you know what I mean? They're obviously seeing a lot of the stuff that we've got out there, despite not having a huge, massive machine behind us. So that's been cool. Bojaws McGlinty, I'm not going to read that comment out. Let's have a look at Angus. Was it here actually? I think it was here. I've scanned down my timeline. This was John McFadden, the SNP. An evening with Alan Cumming and the First Minister John Swinney. Expect sharp conversation, a few laughs, and a proper discussion about Scotland's potential. I mean, anybody who is still participating in this stuff must have been lobotomised, right? I mean, it's mental. But here's John McFadden's. This is what John was thinking was preferable. This was preferable to going to see Swinney and Cumming.
Queen's dry.
Let me see where this was the best one. This was the best one I've seen so far. You know, it was like it was like an Arnold Clark outtake. You're going, mate. You've been coerced into this, like, you know.
To first-time.
Check the vibe.
We'll give up to £10,000 to first-time buyers.
It looks
and
like he's
give
walking
renters
to the gallows.
first refusal to buy the home that they live in.
Oh dearie me, man, that's no good. Look at him.
We'll give up to £10,000 to first-time buyers and give renters first refusal to buy the home that they live in.
Try and smile at the end there, Angus, if you can.
We'll give up to £10,000 to first.
The jaunty music just makes it worse, really, doesn't it? You know. Yeah, that's an interesting look that Angus has got going on there. This was the old flyer. This won an award somewhere. It won an award one time for most creative election flyer from a few years ago, when I was probably slightly near Bonnie, before the ravages of COVID and time took their toll. Cinema advert, mid-2000s, perhaps. Hearing you speak truth to Angus was amazing. What the fuck is he going to do if he's not a career politician? You've done great, Bob. Keep going. Thank you very much. Well done. Merci for that. I will keep going right to the end. I think we're going to take a wee posse to the count as well, which could be quite interesting. There is a desperation as well. They know it's going to be a low turnout, right? They know it's going to be. They know it's. You'll go back to MI5. They know it's going to be a shan turnout, right? So, but they've got this kind of desperate flapping thing going on. It's quite painful to watch. I just wish more people. I really find this whole kind of notion of like, oh no, but we need to, buying into that neoliberal thing that they've got, like, vote for us. How shite do you have to be going like, vote for us to stop them? Who are they? They're the cunts who have come along since we've been so shite. We've been so shite. We've done fuck all to engage and to sort of ameliorate the ills of society. That these bastards have come along and managed to curry some favour. But it's the whole thing is that the even more vulgar part of it is it's all this battle for the working class, because reform are inevitably, that's where they've been mopping up, is disenfranchised communities, disenfranchised sections of the society, which is the very parts of the society that the SNP have completely and utterly abandoned and neglected for the entire time that they've been in power. See our drug deaths, right? It's a disgrace. The crack epidemic that's sweeping the country, the cocaine epidemic that's sweeping the country, the poverty that's just there wherever you go. And you've got these smug liberals, these middle class liberals, these SNP acolytes, like getting their crampons on or going up the Monroes and going, isn't Scotland wonderful? Isn't it? SNP all the way, the rest of it. These absolute teapots, man, right? And they're always going to vote, right? And they're always going to Scotland first and all the rest of it. They've not got a Scooby, they've not got a clue about anything. But that is the core vote for the SNP. And, but people say like, oh, reform, it's like, of course I wouldn't want folk to vote reform, but see if folk vote reform, right, and they didn't vote SNP, like, well, what's your point? What's your point, right? Why should you vote for these failures? What have the SNP done to justify giving you a vote? They've completely and utterly abandoned independence. Sturgeon was exposed for the complete and utter self-serving weirdo narcissist that she was, without a Scooby. They dropped it after the Brexit thing and that. Like, they've had so much time to do something about it. They've done nothing about it because they were never interested in it. Swinney's just Westminster's man in Scotland. That's what they want. They want Swinney back in power with a strong SNP in Scotland. That's sewing up. No need to worry about it, right? I'm not interested in any of that stuff. So you have to do something different, You have to just break away from this moronic party political pantomime. It's very, very difficult to take people seriously that's why obviously I've fallen out with the politics of there's not got any politics, but the Mike Smalls and stuff like that. But this is the funny, let's go and look at him, right? Let's go and look at he's blocked me on my main account, but I'd have to look at him here. Where can I find it? Bella Caledonia. Right, where he's always going on about the media and that. Let's have a look. What's he talking about? These are the people, right? Basically, he's not just going on about the media, right? They can't. Not sure why comments are shut off on this Tommy Sheridan's interview, the Alliance to Liberate Scotland. Everything's like a snide attack on anything that's not state, that's not the government, right? Because he's obviously in the pocket, the SNP, like, you know what I mean? He's obviously got dollar of them forever. And what bothers me, right, is he wants to present himself as the alternative media in Scotland. He wants to pretend that he's some kind of left alternative, that he represents the left somehow, and that he's oppositional to this neoliberal order. And when it's come to this election cycle, you know, he might as well have been canvassing for the SNP. That's the state of them, you know. He can't hide his enthusiasm when polls come in and say, oh, it's like we're going to get a... Right, okay, what does it matter? Like, who actually reads these stuff? Like, apart from people like us that are on X and stuff like that. Nobody really, but he's representative of something, right? He's representative of a very comfortable liberal middle class who do not understand anything about class politics at all. And not only do they not understand it, they're actually, as Chris Cullen was saying, they're actually actively opposed to it. That's why they'll always throw their hat onto something that kind of looks, that, you know, that says the right things, but never actually addresses any of the issues. I can't be bothered looking at that stuff just now.
I didn't vote. I just register. Just register. Aye, just scan the flyers. All right, here.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, register to vote. Register to vote.
There you go.
There you go,
you want to look at it? Come on, you want to take it?
Register to vote by tonight. You've got till tonight to register to vote. Right, come on, there you go. Right, come on, just register to vote. Come on in. Right, come on in. Right, let's move. Right then.
Next up, yeah, can I take?
I'll go up the stairs. Let's move. Yeah, register to vote by tonight, eh? Register to vote by tonight. Come on, there. There. Register to vote by tonight. Spoil your ballots. Spoil your ballots. Spoil your ballots. Register to vote by tonight, alright? Nice one, bro. Mind and register by tonight, eh? Spoil your ballots.
You leave that on the front there, mate.
Come on. Yeah. You can't leave it there. Boy.
Guy goes for a job interview and the guy goes, "You're going good, you're going real good, you've made it to the last group of people. Tell me something negative about your personality." Guy thinks, negative. Too honest, that's my problem, way too honest. Guy goes, "That's not a negative. If anything, I think that's probably a positive." He goes, "I don't give a fuck what you think."
Yeah, you will. You will.
Housing is currently decided on by the people who profit off of it. It's completely backwards. This is your chance to vote for somebody who won't profit off the housing crisis, but has fought and will continue to fight to end it. We're here speaking to people on the Meadows about the Scottish Parliament election on the 7th of May. You have until Monday to register to vote. We are trying to get as many working class people in Scotland voting as possible. And I understand the feeling of it's pointless, it's always the same thing. But we're running a candidate who will stand up for the interests of the working class, who isn't a landlord, isn't a big business owner, and can't be bought off by them. There's two choices. There's two choices across the world stage right now. There's capitalism or there's socialism. Capitalism is what extracts the most profit it can, squeezes us all to death, privatizes all of our services, and doesn't let the working class have a look in or have a say. Socialism is when the people run the economy, and the economy is run by the working class in our interests. Those are the two choices, and whether it's yellow, red, blue, green, whatever, you're voting for capitalism. A vote for us is a vote for socialism, the only alternative to the establishment parties, the only alternative to what we've had for decades and decades, the only way that you can show that you're absolutely done with this. You're done with being exploited, you're done with your community services being shut down, you're done with your bus routes being shut down, you're done with those things being taken off you. You're not going to lie down and take it anymore, and you're going to go to the ballot box and you're going to get that peach ballot paper and put a cross in the Communist Party.
What would the Communist Party do about the housing crisis in Edinburgh?
Fucking hell, you're working me to the bone. Oh my God. The housing crisis in Edinburgh is absolutely shocking. There's over 28,000 households on the wait list for housing right now. There's children, as we speak, growing up in travel lodge rooms. We are not building council houses. We are not doing anything in the interest of the working class. All of our housing is for profit. We have the highest GDP per capita in the UK in this city, and our housing is a disgrace. And there's 1 in 5 children growing up in poverty. Our candidate, Chris Cullen, for the Communist Party of Britain is somebody who has fought in tenancy unions, grown up in temporary accommodation himself, is the only candidate you can vote for who truly understands the housing crisis at its root and won't tell you all this fluff about how, oh, we'll have affordable rents or we'll campaign for this, we'll campaign for that. No, we'll take it back. We need a mass council house building programme. We need the working class having a say in how housing is run. Housing is currently decided on by the people who profit off of it. It's completely backwards. This is your chance to vote for somebody who won't profit off the housing crisis, but has fought and will continue to fight to end it.
I'm very passionate about culture, and I think we all have an inalienable right to create art and be involved in art. And in Scotland, unfortunately, there's huge sections of our society are completely left out of the arts. And that's because Creative Scotland is not fit for purpose. And it is my opinion that Creative Scotland needs to be abolished and reimagined as something far more dynamic and interesting that takes the money out of administrators, which is where all of that money goes, and puts it in the pockets of artists, because that's where the money should be going. Creative Scotland could be run in a far more efficient way. At present, it's a nepotistic clique. It serves a bourgeois demographic. That's the unfortunate reality of it. I know people that are incomprehensibly creative and who are left out entirely. They don't get a penny, and I would seek to change that from the minute I got into Parliament. That would be my desire.
Yes! Freedom, Mr. Freedom!
Yes!
Justice! Freedom and justice for everyone!
Yes, Doc!
Yeah, respect! Love and respect! Honor! Alright! Hey, yeah! You're the hungry guy, but you said when I come. You're telling another guy, I'm like a Chinese.
Crazy Hobo just donated for Bonnie Prince Bob. Thank you very much, Crazy Hobo. If anybody else wants to donate, I think the link is there. It's in the chat, is it? I think it's in the chat. The Ko-fi link. You're more than welcome to click that and support us. Though we have had independents, Jim Swinburne, Margot MacDonald and Dennis Kavanagh. The DeHont system is the huge problem here. We need the single transferable vote system as we have for councils. It's the only way to get independent candidates into Parliament, okay? Bella Caledonia is an SNP fanzine. That's hard to refute. A tedious sycophant to the status quo of the Scottish Government order. Why anybody would want to perpetuate that, I have no idea. Tommy Sheridan and Bonnie Prince Bob at Holyrood. That's a gig I want to see. Double trouble. RNF. Why did they leave out Stalin in their chant? I don't know. Breaks and beats. Evening to you. Evening to you, breaks and beats. As I said, I'm going to try and get a chat with Colin Fox before the vote. This was the SSP's. Oh, that's quite cool, eh? I like that. Join the SSP. It says I enjoyed the hustings that Robertson has ran away, right? Ever since I've been to 3 hustings that Robertson was meant to be at. One he sent Deirdre Brock to. 4. I've been at 4 hustings, right? Robertson was meant to be at all 4 of those hustings. Do you know how many he turned up to? 1. The one where I told him a new arsehole. And never since then, he's never come back. He's never been to any hustings. Now he's walking about the new town and that with his dogs and John Swinney try to muster up votes, like, you know. he's just shat it, let's be honest, right? So that's already like a victory to me, right? But bear in mind, everything that I said to him, he said, because 5 years ago I was on that stage. And he said those things at the time, and I thought, and even at the time I was like, oh, aye, that's interesting you're talking about those things, because they were the things that I was talking about. And he'd done it in a smug way, because he was basically like, I'll address these things that you're concerned about, drug deaths and homelessness and that kind of stuff, you know? And then I went and found his speech. From 5 years ago. I was like, I mind you said these things. What is it? By their own petard. By their own petard, is that what you call it? But yeah, so Robertson, so he never turned up for the one that I went to out by, which I must admit, I was knackered. I wasn't exactly on form. Where was that again? It was at Slateford. There was a church there I went to. But I still turned up. I turned up, right? I turned up. Hoisted, yeah. I turned up and he never turned up. And then he never turned up at the Charterist Centre. He never even turned up at the BBC. Right? He never even turned up at the BBC. In fact, where's that BBC clip? If we've got time, I'll play this now, right? I'll play this. This is Chris and the BBC clip.
I think the way that you can make a delineation is.
Right, wait a minute. I'm allowed. Here it is.
Chris, how did you find out about this? Did you think there was a conspiracy?
Strangely, Bob, I was invited.
How did you manage to get invited?
Well,
we thought we thought we'd had it sewn up, mate. We were trying to keep you out of the action. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is what I fear. There seems to be a conspiracy by yourself and the other candidates to exclude me.
I want you to provide. I want evidence for this.
I've never been invited to any hustings meetings since the Grassmarket Residence.
But I just got a message from a lady. It was nothing to do with me, and you insinuated that I'd been creating some conspiracy. I just got a DM from somebody saying, "Are you going to come to this hustings?" I went, "Aye, all right." I turned up for 5 minutes before it started. I didn't even know who was going to be there. But today on social media, you accused me of creating a conspiracy.
No, I'm accusing the candidates generally of being quite happy to allow hustings meetings to be
What are you saying
without inviting me.
What are you saying, that we're all in this together against you?
I think that style of questioning, Bob, is designed to
do you want me to read verbatim? Do you want me to read verbatim what you said?
Well, yes. If you want to quit, Bob, I'll tell you this: it is a real shame.
Bro, I agree. I would have been. If you'd come, I would have loved to have seen you there with your big rosette, man. Nobody was more disappointed that you weren't there than me.
Yeah, can we not save it for the yes, I think some slightly encouraging words from yourself, Bob.
What do you mean? Why do I always get the blame for everything? Like that's what I want to know. Like, you know what I mean?
Because you're the only person active on Twitter.
Well, that's entrepreneurialism.
Great Edinburgh Democrats have been presiding over loads of hostage meetings that you presided over, you take part in. No, it would be
I'm Joe, by the way. Joe, how you doing? Tom.
Well, yeah, you participated. Yes, you participated, which is more than I've done.
I'm not going to lie. I felt threatened that if you were going to be in the same room as me, I was going to lose votes. I just didn't want to have you around me. I was just looking out for myself, like the consummate politician.
Bob,
yes.
Do you want a little quip?
Yes.
Yes. If I found out about hustings meeting, which I hadn't been invited to, like Odysseus,
Yes.
going in disguise to
Let's not
Ithaca.
compare ourselves
I
to
would
any
have got
lofty-
to that meeting. I just think it's so sad that the
Empty out a shepherd's crook.
But I never-
been denied hearing my voice.
But I never spoke to anybody else. A woman just messaged me and says, you've got to come to this hostage. Why have I got to message you? I don't even have your number.
Yeah. Get kept.
By Tommy.
How much?
Closer together. We might have to sort of double.
Let's get a look at you, Chris. Let's see that rosette for a start. Let me see that.
Oh yeah. This is my campaign.
Status quo.
Yes.
You're advocating for the status quo, is that correct?
For status quo.
Right, okay.
That's my.
No change, keep everything just as it is, right?
Unless change can be proved to be necessary.
Right, but how do you know that without actually having change?
It's not up to me to prove that.
Right.
You're the change politicians.
They went to Iraq, set to Alan Lancaster left.
Right. So do you need any more of my? You got enough of me there. You're slipping away there, Bob.
I don't think I would ever be able to have enough of you, Chris. But you know what I mean. I think for the time being, I've got. Show me your pad, though. What were you telling me about your pad?
Oh, remember I had the A4.
Yeah.
So this is nice and easy. This fits in together like this. It fits actually on my lap nicely. So
I can see that.
Hello, I'm Lindsay Bewes, and very shortly you're going to be hearing from candidates standing for election in the Edinburgh Central constituency. It's shaping up to be an interesting contest. The seat is currently held by the SNP's Angus Robertson. So let's get started with the introductions. As I said, 40 seconds each, starting with the independent candidate, Bonnie Prince Bob.
Hi there, my name is Bonnie Prince Bob. I'm an artist and producer from Edinburgh. I'm standing as an independent, as a direct challenge to the party political class, because I don't believe there's any difference between the party political class. I believe they're all one and the same entity, essentially. I think it's very telling this evening that Angus Robertson hasn't turned up because he's failed Edinburgh Central in the time that he's had his tenure as a sitting MSP. He's also failed Scotland by meeting Zionists during his time in office. And I think we need local people representing local communities, not bureaucrats and managerial class politicians, which is what we have.
That and into routes where they have long-term sustainable careers.
Okay, Bonnie Prince Bob, I want to ask you about this. What do you think about this idea of maybe kind of looking again at provision of further and higher education?
Well, from what I gather, there's a couple of issues with Edinburgh University. For a start, I think Scottish student fees are capped, whereas international students' fees aren't capped, and that's why the business model of Edinburgh University is to attract as many international students as possible. They also sit on the strategic licensing board of the city, where they actually decide on planning decisions, and that's why we've got so many purpose-built student accommodations arriving in Edinburgh that are now eradicating landmarks, buildings of great significance. They're pushing out working class areas by bringing in students, and these are basically just a commodity for the university. So this is on the SNP's watch and the Greens' watch. Essentially, they've allowed Edinburgh to be turned into a commercialised zone for international students. It's not the fault of the students, but you have to remember that students don't pay any council tax either. So we have a situation where existing communities are being pushed out. A lot of these PBSA companies are actually domiciled in the Cayman Islands, so they're not even paying tax. So this is a big scandal, really, that's going on. And so when the Scottish student is complaining about his situation, I think that's because Scottish students are actually an afterthought for Edinburgh University. They're not really interested in Scottish students. They're interested in the cash cows of the international students. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at.
Of Westminster, but I must say, it's disappointing the way this conversation is going. International students in this city make a very valuable contribution, not just to the institutions, but to the life of the community in general.
Okay.
And I'm very proud of the fact. I'm very proud of the fact that this. If you would stop trying to talk over me. I don't know what you're talking over. I can't even hear what he's saying because he's talking over me. Are you going to stop him, or shall I?
Well, 5 years ago, I ran for this seat against Angus Robertson. When I had the opportunity to confront Angus Robertson at the first hustings I attended, I held him accountable, and that's more than anybody else in that Parliament has done over the last 5 years. He's failed this constituency, he's failed Scotland, he's failed Edinburgh, and if you elected me, I'll do my best not to fail any of you. Thank you very much. Right then, there you go, eh? You can't say I've not tried, eh? You can't say I've not tried, right? You can't say I've not tried, you can't say I've not grafted, you can't say any of those things, because I've done all of these things, eh? And it's no thanks to all yous who didn't do it. I get it in my DMs, I get the omissions, the whole bit. Nae bother, eh? Well, what are you doing here? What are you doing, eh? Absolute bunch of plonkers, eh? Meanwhile, the Bonnie Prince has been out and about in his own city, taking on the incumbent political class with his deft wit. Right, well, we've only got 3 days left. Like I said, hold a minute. Where is he? Where's Stevens? Missed the trick. Where's Thanks to everybody who's joined us this evening. Where's this thing? I thought. Where's Ronaldo? Oh, here it is.
Hands up higher! Jobs have you... How many jobs have you had?
I can't remember.
Hands up higher now! You disrespected the Makar for the last time. The Makar is pissed!
It's a bonny bright day to execute Bob!
That's the fate. That's the fate that so many want for me. Only you can stop that from happening. Right. So, like I say, if anybody would like to help Marta, Edinburgh has been filled by party politics. If anybody would like to help distribute these over the next few days, big thanks, love and respect to everybody who has helped out with that. All the cats that have come and collected leaflets and taken them out to wear it far and wide. Remember, you can vote for me all over the whole of the Lothians on the list. You can vote for me all over Edinburgh and the whole of the Lothians on the list. You get 2 votes. So, if you're not going to put a bobby, put a bobby on your ballot, whichever way you want to go about it. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you all this evening, having you all join. It's been a good crowd, I think, from what I can see. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you with a classic, one of my own productions, a track that I produced many years ago, and then we made the video a couple of years ago with Daddy Scotty. It was my band, Project Bonafide. It features the late, great, phenomenal talent, Natalie Hendry, Scotty's daughter. And this is Babylon They Care About Us by Project Bonafide, which is basically me and Scotty and the crew from back in the day and still recently. But I would just like to say thanks very much to everybody who's joined us. Thanks very much to everybody who has shared and supported throughout this last 5-6 weeks. It's been amazing. And keep spreading the message as we head towards Thursday's vote. So take care, everybody. This is Project Bonafide, Babylon They Care About Us. Ciao.
The cost of living in the UK is rising and it's changing people's lives.
It's not okay, you know, things are not okay. Why is it so hard? It shouldn't have to been this hard. It's horrific. It's affecting everybody.
The Independent has revealed an escalating hunger crisis among children in poverty who are not eligible for free school meals.
Sometimes we'll run out of electricity. Sometimes we just stay in the dark.
Russia has warned that if Ukraine should join the NATO alliance, conflict will definitely escalate into World War III.
Well, hundreds of thousands of demonstrators hitting the streets across France today in a last-ditch effort to reverse the raising of the nation's retirement age.
The rising tensions between the world's two most powerful countries, the United States and China, after several military close calls. Bill Gates.
You had a number of meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. He was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors.
I regret doing that.
Babylon don't care about us. All they want we do is just fight and fuss. Babylon system, we know it's unjust. That's why the Almighty God, the only one to trust. Unity among my people, yes, it's a must. If we unite, then we're gonna get dust. Babylon don't care about us. Babylon don't care about us. Babylon don't care about the brothers them dying. Babylon don't care about the mothers crying. All them care about bugging and spying. We know the truth, but they keep on lying. Every ghetto youth must keep on trying. Whatever them selling, tell them we're not buying. Babylon don't care about us. Babylon don't care about us.
Undercover Israeli special forces infiltrating a hospital in the West Bank.
WCNSF. Wounded child, no surviving family.
Bill Clinton, Stephen Hawking, and Britain's Prince Andrew.
26,200 people have been killed in Gaza since the start of the war.
Now it has been confirmed. The Federal Bureau of Investigation does conduct surveillance using domestic drones.
Israel this morning says it's attacking the Gaza Strip more intensely than ever before.
Scotland has recorded the highest ever number of drug deaths.
Before the health ministry says 70% of those killed are women and children.
Wages, poor housing, chronic ill health and crime. The most disadvantaged in Britain are no better off than they were 15 years ago at the time of the financial crash.
Are you actually conducting experiments to mutate new and more dangerous coronaviruses?
To ensure a dangerous clash between major global powers.